Welcome, friends, to the Soul Talk podcast, a show where we explore and uncover the path to the heart, amplifying your conscience. Join me as we meet incredible souls who are in this journey and learn from their experience and different methods that will make you vibrate your heart. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. This is Monica Ramirez, and thank you for being in Soul Talk. And today we have a friend, and let me tell you a little bit about who she is. Her name is Angela Levasseur, and she's an intuitive channeler, transformational guide, and visionary founder of the Phoenix Passage. That we're going to be asking her what it is that, specifically. Angela integrates tarot, energy healing, Reiki, Akashic insights, and shamanic practice to create transformative experiences that moves clients beyond the surface level awareness into the true embodiment. Angela, thank you for accepting my invitation to Soul Talk. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much. I am absolutely honored to be part of this program.
Tell me a little bit about what it is, the Phoenix Passage, first of all, because that's my first thought that jump in.
Well, the Phoenix Passage is actually a website where I am able to offer different services, but I do offer some for free as well. And it is essentially a program that is based on what I went through during my awakening and ascension and the different hurdles and challenges that I had. Because I went through it all by myself. I had no one to guide me. I had absolutely no one for support. And what I started realizing is one of my gifts to the people here on earth is that I am meant to help and guide and mentor and help them through these little hurdles that we might be going through. And I really enjoy it. I very much love it. And I'm also an awakener. So for me, it is something that just by virtue of speaking with people, many times I will awaken dormant memories, dormant DNA, dormant gifts within them. And that's basically what this whole journey is about. So I offer a few different services. As you mentioned, I'm an intuitive channel, so I can do regular tarot readings or oracle readings. I very often will channel people's guides and past loved ones or individuals that might be coming in to offer them assistance. I also often will channel in galactics, which is very, very interesting. And I also offer services that if somebody decides that they would like to have on an ongoing basis contact with me, because many times it takes more than one session to get through things, I also offer services such as that. And I'm still in the infancy stages, but I have helped several people so far, and I stay in contact with every one of them because having an ongoing mentor and guide to me is huge. And it's all got to be done with love and with learning and an open mind.
Yes, that is so true that you were mentioning, but something that I wanted to bring out to our viewers, Angela, it is a contactee. So please tell us a little bit about how it started to your contact with the Galactics.
This is a really interesting story, and truly it dates back to when I was a very young girl. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and my mom used to show us out the window the moon, and we would watch UFOs zipping around behind the backside of the moon. And I mean, I didn't think a whole lot of it at that point in time. Fast forward to about 5 years ago, when I really started recognizing and allowing the gifts that I have, I started realizing that, hey, I've got all of these other gifts and abilities that are here. And I ended up getting into an esoteric group and having a very profound awakening while I was in the group. And it just so happened that, and I know this sounds very crazy, but it's very true. I met someone who was a contactee, and I started interacting with them because, as I mentioned earlier, many times just us being in that presence will cause us to remember and awaken dormant abilities and dormant DNA, that is part of what happened. So I started getting visits from extraterrestrials. I started remembering past lives as extraterrestrials. I have been able to speak light languages, which often encounters back and forth with extraterrestrials. And I have had several channels directly from them as well. I can also remote view. So it's something that all of these gifts have come in. And as a contactee, I will get messages from them on a regular basis, and they can just pop in and out because I am so open to receiving them. It's only always beings of love and light, and for the best of my good and that of the collective and the earth as well. But what I've started understanding too is the more contact I have with others that I'm opening myself up, I'm also opening up their dormant past lives. And I have, just by being in contact with many, many different people, I did a conference in California back in April. There were about 200 individuals that were there. They listened to me speak. And afterwards, I had several people come up to me and say to me, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you have mentioned this and this and this. Here's my experience." And I've kept in touch with many of those people. So the fact that being a contactee, I mean, my belief is that we all are energy. We are all connected, regardless of whether we are galactic, earthlings, etc. But many of us have hybrid DNA and past life DNA as galactics. And I've seen many, many galactic lives that I have shared with other people. And I've been able to confirm many of those with other people as well. And I know that the galactics are always getting in touch with me. I love it. I've never had a bad experience, though I have been with people that have been within my area where they've had some a bit negative, but a lot of it is dependent on the species that is coming through. And we have to remember too, a lot of times they do not have the same type of DNA or physical structure. They're energetic beings. So what to them may be safe isn't necessarily safe to a human. And that's one of the reasons that they do not show themselves on our planet, because all galactic beings have a much higher frequency than we do. So when you see those little spots in the side of your eyes, etc., many times it's the other realms coming through. And right now the veil is thin, so it happens.
The thing is, right now, something that I know through my own channeling, that many people, many humans right now are getting contacted because the time of the disclosure, the time of the real disclosure, not the ones that they've been programming for ages and everybody's like, okay, let's wait and another year pass. No, the real time that we're gonna be having interactions with them, that even the governments are not gonna be involved in this. It is already happening. It is happening slowly with people that are getting more people are getting contacted by it.
Yes. Absolutely. And a lot of the reason for the slowness is so that we are not living in fear. Unfortunately, we've been programmed for many, many years that, oh, these are malicious beings, they're negative, they're nefarious, and that is not necessarily true. Yes, there are nefarious and negative beings in every single race. Look at the people here on Earth. However, you can protect yourself from that, and you can call in only beings of love and light. And it's only once you raise your frequency and open yourself up to a certain degree that they're even going to be interacting with you. I'm also telepathic, and everything that they connect to me is generally telepathically. Though sometimes I will hear, knocks in the house, or I might hear the clicking of a mantid being, but most of the contact is telepathic. But because my third eye is open, I can see them, I can feel them, I can sense them.
I have a question about that because right now, yes, there are many contactees in the world that the intention is the best. Unfortunately, the governments in the world are they don't have the best intentions because it's about control and about what we're gonna get from this. And obviously, the galactics, that's not the intention. It's like what they're gonna get economically from this. There's a very different mentality and what their intentions are from the galactics as from some of the people that are in power. So it is, there's a lot of control in that. But I know, yes, part of the programming that we're talking about, that Angela is talking about, is like, look at Hollywood. The ETs are gonna come and invade us, or gonna eat us, or they're gonna destroy the planet, or whatever, or the humanity. And that's part of the programming that we've been receiving. But I've been noticing, like the Hail Mary, that's one of the newest movies that is actually making relationships with them. And many of the new movies that are coming out, not necessarily from Hollywood, they are basically trying to bring that friendship, that unity with the Galactics, but they still throwing out things from Hollywood to so we can fear them. So when is this thing is gonna actually really change in the balance? So like that we can stop feeling fear and the humanity actually be open to another new race. Because when we're talking about new race, we're not talking about the colors races that we have as humanity. We're talking about really different race, not humans.
100% very, very different. I have had beings that were blue. I've had beings that were reptilian. I've had beings that were mantid. One of the biggest things that is going to result in change is when we stop being fear-based. And by that, it's a little bit convoluted, because just because something on the outside looks very friendly, there was back a number of years ago an episode of Star Wars, and or sorry, not Star Wars, Star Trek, where there was a little being, and it was, very unassuming looking, but they were basically a very nefarious type of being. Just because something looks nice, looks can be deceiving. We need to be heart led when we are seeing and feeling individuals. And this doesn't go just for galactics, it goes and applies to human beings as well. Just because someone looks wonderful on the outside doesn't mean that they don't have an evil heart. So when you stop being fear-based, that is when they will start coming to you. If you are open to different races, if you are, not a racial person, if you are unbiased and you realize that there are things out there that do exist far beyond what we could ever comprehend, that is when you are going to start seeing and realizing what the differences are. You're absolutely correct. We do have soft disclosure already going on. There are many groups online, and I belong to a few different groups where we've got open individuals. They've experienced, and it's all different levels. It's dependent upon what your psyche and your personal individuality can handle. They are not going to present something to you that you cannot handle. So, you might start getting little, as I mentioned before, little side uh, sparks of light. That could be another realm that is coming up, because as far as I'm concerned, all the realms do exist simultaneously with us, and with the veil so thin, they're even easier to see. But if you cannot handle that, they're not going to show you that. They're not going to just pop up at the side of your bed and say, "Hi, here I am." If you are watching things that are going to scare you, they're not going to come to you, because they know that you are not of the right mindset. It's like all of these scary movies that they've got out where they're invading, like the Alien series. That is not what happens. They are totally fear-based. They are here. They are currently in our skies. I mean, and I get a chance to see, I'm so blessed. I get a chance for them to show me their ships all the time. And I can feel and sense exactly. They hide in the clouds. But if you are used to the energy signature from them, you realize that they're not necessarily hiding. They are just, blending in. And funny enough, when I call them out on it immediately, and I know this sounds far-fetched, but it's not, I will watch the clouds change formation. And that to me is an immediate sign, because clouds don't change formation that quickly. And I know that it's them.
And the thing is, we want to clarify what is the intentions of the good ones. Like Angela mentioned, it is like in humanity, there are people that have good intentions for the planet and for others too. And there's people that don't. the same applies for the galactics too. But what are the intentions of the good ones? Let's put it like that. The ones that they are coming.
The good ones have many different intentions. Many of them have been visiting our planet and living on our planet since well before man was even here. We are actually in the fifth age of man being here. And a lot of what they are bringing to us is knowledge. They are teaching us to love ourselves and each other. They're teaching us guardianship of our planet, because our planet, and I can speak specifically to a race called the Pointee beings. They have several bases here, but they do have a base underneath the Sandia Mountain, and I've been in contact with them for a couple of years now. They literally live underground and they live in tunnels and caves. And one of the big things that they do, and again, there are many other realms that coexist. They coexist and are very close contact with the Sasquatch and Yetis. They actually have friends, and I mean, there is a website called Sandia Mountain that you, or Sandia Mountain Wisdom, I believe it's called, and it is an area that they've been in contact with us for, I think it's since 2015 approximately, through a telepathic translator who has all sorts of wonderful photos that she has made. She's actually drawn them. She's an artist, forensic artist. But a lot of what they're teaching us is we need to love ourselves. We need to love one another. Unconditional love, purity of heart, integrity. These are so, so crucial. And unless you have a true integrity through telepathy, your actions cannot lie. Your integrity cannot lie. So if you are not of a pure heart, and I mean, everybody makes mistakes. We all do. We are human, and we are literally energy in a human bodysuit here on earth to learn.
Yes.
But if you are walking around saying one thing, but you're harboring so much hate and nastiness inside, you're never going to have the experiences with the extraterrestrials that are here that are going to help you, because they cannot interact with you in that regard. They teach us all about the herbs that we have here on earth. They teach us about the old ways. They teach us how to use other plants and medicines. And they are actually responsible for bringing many different plants, animals from other star systems here for us and helping us to learn.
The thing is, well, in the Sandia Mountains, as we have here close also the Los Alamos. We have here, there's a lot of things going on in New Mexico, where I am. The thing is also that the government is involved in all those too. There are bases in there, and those are the ones that they have created, reversing the technology of the galactics. Not such a good vibration or not such a good intentions neither. So I imagine that the Pontee that you were mentioning, they have treaties obviously with the, because in Sandia Mountain it is one of the laboratories of the government too. So, and you can hear in Taos it is very famous, the boom of Taos. That some people can hear it, but it's being constantly for I don't know how many years. That it is being constant in there, and that's part of the same tunnels that they're building in there. That's what I've been told. So to what point actually we're gonna be having, I know by my own guidance I know it's coming soon, but I wish I can give more information and tell people, you know what, beside of this is part of the awakening, that understanding that there is the reality that we're living in, it is not like we were presented by the same system. It is also, um, there's different realities within the same reality that we're living. I know this is kind of confusing, guys, that the ones that are listening to it, but just hear me out. Yes, there's different realities in between the same reality that you're observing, that you're touching, that you're feeling, that you're sensing. And at the same time, also there's involvement of the same government so we can cover up and continue controlling us. And that's what is stopping the real awakening and the real contact that we can be having with all the technology that it can be helping us for healing, for advancing in going to the stars, etc., 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 right?
Absolutely. I will clarify, the Pontee are not affiliated with the government at all. They are totally separated. They have their own system. The person that oversees them, his name is Tilcom, and they totally are separated. They have nothing to do with the tunnel system. They are a beautiful, peaceful race. There's actually a site you can go on to that's relevant to them. It's called officialfirstcontact.com. And what I am very much aware of is that right now there is I'll call it a treaty or an agreement. And I'm not going to say a specific name because there are so many names that are very, very similar that they get misconstrued. But essentially, it is between the star nations right now that they cannot have official first contact. However, it is eminent. And one of the things that's on the official firstcontact.com is something called a telepathy 101 primer that was developed so that individuals can practice telepathy and start to get in touch with different galactic beings. And that was what I got into. And I started using it and I was able to start being contacted. And I've had several different connections with the Pontee, and they've been ongoing and they're absolutely beautiful. I mean, they'll pop in and literally say hello, which they are actually doing now, believe it or not. And they are very happy that we are doing this and letting people realize, because so many people are so afraid. It does exist. They are out here, along with I'm sure people are familiar with three eye Atlas. I actually channeled beings that were on there, and I had a message that came through from them. And there, it was essentially emissaries from many different planets that came in. They're watching us right now. What they're looking for, and what they keep saying, and this is galactics in general, is the fact that we are not ready right now for them to come in. They cannot interfere with anything going on unless we decided we were going to blow up the planet, then they can interfere. But we need to figure out how to love one another, how to be guardians of our planet before they can really come in and step in. Yes, they can provide us with tools. Yes, we can continue to get our messages out to individuals. And as I said, there are many different groups that exist where you can get into them and do something called a CE5 contact, where you're actually
That's so
connecting
clear.
to the different ships, etc. They're here. They really are. We have to be unafraid and willing and not afraid of interference from outside factions such as the government and people who are saying you're naysayers. It took me quite a period of time to realize personally, you know what, this is my message, and I know that I'm going to be laughed at. I know that people are going to put me down. I know that people are going to say nasty things. I'm sorry, it's still my message. It is still something that's very important. And there are thousands upon thousands of us out here that are well aware of what's going on. If each one of us, like a drop in the ocean, gets our message out, more people are going to be aware of it, and we can help one another. You know, if somebody has a question, it's like, hey, is this normal for me to be going through this or this or this? We can let you know. And one thing that I will mention, because it's actually really cute, and I've seen the proof of it many times when specifically the Pontee come to visit. If you happen to have a refrigerator with those magnetic alphabet stickers on it, the magnets, they will come and they will actually spell words. I have a very good friend of mine that had the alphabet letters sticking on her fridge, and the Pontee came, and she doesn't have children at all in her area, and she doesn't have animals, and they actually made a message on her fridge. They do things like that. They will come by and they will I have a friend who plays video games. They will come and they will bang on the back of the couch to let him know that they're there. They will come and they will move things around. All of these are documented, and they do this on a regular basis for people to let us know, hey, we're still here. when you get used to them and when you're comfortable with them, you can have more individuals coming in. But this is not something new. These things
No.
have been going on for years, and there's all different races. Chaco Canyon is one of the big ones where there are many um, indigenous races that have been, it's documented on the walls of the
Well,
mountains that there's been
if
interaction between galactic races.
but the majority of the Native Americans, they talk about the Cachinos, the Star people, etc.,
Yes,
because they been contacted for long time. And just to clarify for everybody, the C5 that Angela was talking about, it is the one that started. It was Dr. Greer,
yes,
and he
absolutely.
continued with that. And it's basically an app. So, but they get people together. They go into the wild on the mountain or whatever. They go different places to contact them, and they do contact them. So, just to clarify, for you have any questions about that?
But you can actually do them with your own groups, because I have a group
Yes.
here where I live, and I've been to a few CE5s now, and we
Yeah.
do have individuals and see spaceships that are going back and forth. People can say, "Oh, they're stars," or they're satellites, "Oh, they're whatever." When you sit and watch them, and they will flash colors at you, or they will zip from one area to another very quickly, those are not satellites. They're
Yeah.
definitely not drones. They are something totally different, but you have to understand yourself, and you need to realize you're not imagining it. The more that you tell yourself you're imagining it, the more they're not going to come through, because
Well,
you're not believing.
and the more that you bring down your fear, because I have seen it many times since many years from Mexico to United States. Those are the countries that I've been living in, and I have seen them. But when you bring down your your fear and goes more into your curiosity, that's when it's gonna happen. Because if you're a fear, like Angela mentioned, they're not gonna be showing up because they don't want to fear you. They don't want to close you to the idea of having contact with them sooner or later. Well, yes, again, I'm not denying, or Angela is not denying that there are galactics that they don't have the best intention, like many grays. I've been adopted by them. Is not fun. There's also some Dracos that they don't have good intentions, but also some insectoids that also doesn't have
Mhm.
good intentions, and there's some that they work directly with the government. That they are several races involved in there, that they are not having the best intentions for it. You can see it in the cow's mutilation that Linda Moulton is talking about, and she have studies and studies and studies about that. But not all the races act like the ones that they're involved with the government. That's the majority. That's the majority. We're
Exactly.
talking about the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Illyrians, the
Syrians.
Syrians.
Yes, there are
Yes,
there are so many different galactic races out
yes.
there. We don't even know about all of them, because even with all the ones that have been documented, you have to understand the galaxy is infinite, and there are new planets and new galaxies coming up all the time. We only know about a very small number of the different beings that are out here, and we are so fortunate in the ones that are here. Not all of the ones that interact with the government are nefarious, but you have to remember, many times there's been interactions that the government has had with them, and it's supposed to be for um, technology or for information, and then it's been skewed, or it's been misused, it's been, you know reverse engineered. I mean, there's so much technology out there that, where do you think most of this has come from? If you look back at historically how humans have evolved, we shouldn't be at this stage at this point in time. But when it's used for nefarious purposes and not good purposes, that's not good. But one of the reasons that the uh, galactics do not want to provide all of the information to us is not because it's not going to help us. It's because they have a fear of us misusing it. But for instance, for me, when they come in to see me, many times they will awaken dormant memories and past lives that I've had. And I can see where I've had different things that have come through. When they do that, they also help, and even the solar flares, they awaken the strands of DNA in us that have been dormant. And that's one of their purposes as well. And it's to help us and to guide us and to ensure that we are moving in the right direction. But they're only going to do that for the ones that have good intentions. They're not going to come to the ones who are, oh, I'm ego driven. If you're ego driven, they're not going to come and see you.
Yes. And something that I would like to mark it is like, as humans, many humans that you see in this planet, they're star seeds. And that means that we as a multidimensional beings, we have connect, we're at the same time that we're in planet Earth, we are part of the same family that is out there in a spaceship, or just hiding in away from the rest of the humans. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a double that is from Pleiades or from Lyria or from Sirius or from actor, whatever it is. So we are connected with them. They can sense us. They can feel our emotions, our thoughts. The thing is, people do not understand that the world where it's going right now is going to be about telepathic communication, and there's nothing you can hide in there.
That's absolutely correct. And that's the biggest thing is in telepathy, you cannot hide. There's a wonderful book by a woman named Karen Holton, and it's called Transdimensional Meet the New Neighbors. I have heard Karen speak on a very good friend of mine's show several times, and she's got her own show. If you ever get a chance, look up the book. And she talks about being on the big ship for several months at a time. And all they did was teach her how to telepathically communicate. And it's really funny when you start reading some of it because she talks about the fact that our thoughts are very open. So she might be going to use a washroom and they're picking up on it. I know it sounds really funny, but it's true. It's like, okay, they don't need to know all of your dirty laundry, but it's one of those things that as you start learning how to do it, and it's much like everything else, you start to learn, okay, I can put a close on this so that all of my information is not going out. It's only open for the time frame that I'm allowing or for the beings that I'm allowing, because otherwise we'd be going crazy. We'd be hearing all of the voices all of the time. And that's one of the other signs that I help people with, because many, many years ago, and still, we get so many people, they'll say, I keep hearing voices. I keep hearing voices. Just because you're hearing voices, it doesn't mean that you are mentally unstable. You may very well be hearing spirit voices. You could be hearing galactic voices. You might be hearing your intuition. You might be hearing your higher self. But a lot of people, we've been told, oh, I don't understand how to deal with this, so I'm going to go to the doctor and I'm going to get something to numb it. Numbing it isn't necessarily the right thing. And please, I am not a doctor. I am not advocating anything that, is saying this is the be all and the end all. But I've learned through the many, many years and through reading and through all of the information that I've been receiving that far too often when we are afraid of what it is that we're going through, whether we're going through the voice part of it, whether it's the feelings that we're getting, whether it's the sensations that we're getting, or it's the gifts. I mean, many people are healers. That healing, because we're energy, is something that all of our galactic relatives have, and it's automatic. We have that ability in our body, but we're too afraid. We've never been taught how to use it. We're so programmed that we automatically think there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong. Part of the reason I have the business that I have is to teach people there isn't necessarily something wrong with you. You are just opening up. Your body is ready, your psyche is ready, and your soul is ready to love and pull in all of the goodness that we have and all of the light that we truly are and what we truly exist to be.
This is not wonderful that I would like to mark this for our viewers right now. That when you and me, we started many, 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 many years ago, there was not so much information about this. There was not so many classes or something like that, of how I can channel, how I can direct the energy, how I can heal, how I can do this, how I can connect with galactics, etc., etc., etc. There was nothing. We learned in the hard way by
Yes.
experimenting with ourselves. And it was chaotic, because it was still happening to us, but we still did not knew how we should do it or how we shouldn't do it. And now in this time, you're gonna find a healer. It doesn't matter what town, what city, where country you are, you're gonna find someone that can teach you in person or online. And you can learn about all these things or also ask for healing. Now you find guides like Angela, like myself, like many others that they will show you the proper way to do it. So like that you're not freaking out when you're starting hearing voices or when you're connecting or when you're seeing a being. So it is now you can relax. In our time, it was kind of scary because you did not knew what it was going on with you. But now you can contact someone that can help you and guide you how to do it in a proper way so you don't feel crazy. Even if the society will tell you're crazy, those things are not going to go down. They're going to go speed up, in fact.
Yes, and they have been. I mean, even with the communities that I am in right now, I have seen a huge, huge growth. I mean, I know of several places where there are esoteric communities, quantum portals. They have a YouTube that comes on, it's every Wednesday, and they have many different guests, much like what you do. So, I mean, I love and I am so thankful for the fact that you asked me to come on as a guest. That's one of them. I have a very beautiful friend of mine. His name is Kevin Estrella, and he has a radio show called Pyramids on Mars. He interviews experiencers. So if there are people out there that have had experiences, listen to the show or contact him. He's on Artist First Radio, and you can catch all of his past shows. He is an experiencer himself, and I mean, we've had some amazing um, galactic adventures together that have happened, and I know I've awakened him, he's awakened me even more so. So that's fantastic. But just by being in those communities as well, you open your vibration and frequency and you raise it so that you are
Yeah.
easier accessible by the galactics, because when we have a really low frequency, they can't interact with us. And that's one of the problems with being on Earth. We have in Earth itself a very low frequency. So because they have such a high frequency, there is an issue. And that's one of the reasons that they contact us telepathically, because they can't lower themselves. When we have a frequency, you are not supposed to lower your frequency. You are supposed to keep raising your frequency. So we need to raise our frequency to match them.
Please, to our viewers, tell them how they can raise the frequency. So like that, they're not so scared. They just after hearing all this information, it's like, how do I raise my vibration or my frequency?
There are so many different ways that you can raise your vibrational frequency. If you are someone that likes music, play your favorite music. You can meditate. You can listen to solfeggios for many, many different areas and raise your frequencies that way. Go out into nature and connect to nature, connect to Mother Gaia. If you don't know how to do that and literally, cleanse yourself and clear yourself, you can look up that on YouTube. You can look it up on Google. Contact Monica. She is a wonderful, wonderful teacher. Contact myself. Sound therapy. If you have sound bowls, gongs, things along that line. Just even allowing peace for yourself, breathing techniques, breathe in from your stomach and then releasing the breath very slow. There are so many different techniques, and I don't say one is better than the other,
I have
because
one. I have one
everyone is
favorite.
different. Yeah,
I have
pardon
one.
me. Yes.
I do have one favorite because, like she mentioned, there's thousands of ways that you can raise your vibration. But my favorite is think on love, unconditional love. It
Yes.
doesn't matter. It is a landscape. It doesn't matter. It's your kid when he was born, recently born, and you just saw him. and you just accept him as it is. You were not trying to change him. That is unconditional love. Thinking the flower, your puppy, whatever it brings that unconditional love in you, and that will raise your vibration immediately.
Yes, 100%. And I mean, people don't realize too, when you are heart-centered and you can kind of take that thought, bring it into your heart, you can actually expand it. And much like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, when you watch it, where it shows his heart growing, it's much like that. And we can take that frequency within us, we can surround ourselves, and then we can surround the room we're in, we can surround the house we're in, and we can send that frequency out into the world and the galaxy. That is ultimately what raises the frequency, not just of Earth, but of every person in the galaxy. And when we do that, especially when it's more than one that's doing it at the same time, it's amazing. It's like I said before, it's like a drop of water. Maybe one on one, we're not much, but put millions of drops together, you've got a lake and an ocean. And that's what it's all about, is us individually raising our frequencies, living a life of love. I mean, I'm not saying you're not going to get angry occasionally. It happens. We're
Yeah.
human, but it's bringing yourself back to that, and being, when you're encountering negative circumstances, be an observer instead of allowing yourself to get embroiled in it. Because when you look at it as an observer, it just totally changes how you become embroiled in it and how your emotions are affected by it, because you can usually start to see what is the point of view of the other individual. And that's so important for us, and that's part of it. Is, you're not knocking heads all the time, you're realizing, okay, this person might have some valid points. I don't have to necessarily agree with every single one of them,
Mhm.
but I can come at it from a place of love rather than how I may have come at it previously.
The information of Angela, it is going to be down below this episode, so like that you can contact her, her email, her website, etc. All of that is going to be down below. But Angela, if the people wants to they have all these questions about the ascension, or they're just waking up, or they just had a contact and they're scared because they just got a first contact. So what did you suggest to them beside of yes, your links are in the in this episode.
Well, first of all, realize the fact that if you are being contacted in any way, shape, or form, if you are going through an awakening, it's because your soul inherently knows you're ready. It means that someplace on some level in deep within you, you are aware of the fact that I am ready to experience these different things. You might not quite know how to navigate them, but it's because you, without realizing it, have called that to you. I mean, one of the things, and Monica and I have talked about this before, we have all decided well before we came on Earth that this is what we planned for ourselves. And this is a hugely exciting time for everybody that's here on Earth, because there is a large majority of the population that is awakening. We're in various stages. And then there are some of us that have gone through the majority of our awakening, and we are now here to help and guide. Monica is of that state of mind. I am of that state of mind. Many of the people that come on this podcast are of that state now, where we are being of service. So ultimately, if you are being contacted, the first thing is, don't be afraid. Think to yourself, I am safe. Picture yourself in a bubble of white light and a bubble of love. You are safe. There is nothing unusual that's going on with you, other than the fact that, take it as a sign of you are being very appreciated and very gifted at this point, because there are too many people out there that are never going to have that experience, or that may never have that experience, or that might only experience a little tiny bit of it because they aren't ready. So the more that you keep your vibration high, the more that you allow it to happen safely. And you can actually ask your higher self, and I know that's a little bit above, but when you ask your higher self and your guides to please allow whatever it is that is happening for me to come in safely in a way that I understand and that I am fully protected. They will do that. They will never, ever go outside of what it is that you are ready to handle. They can't. When you put those parameters out, they cannot go against those parameters. It's
Yes,
part of sacred law.
that is so true. So, did you like this episode, guys? Please share it with your friends. It might help someone else that you when you share it. Comment, please, and help us out in this channel. We would really appreciate it. And thank you for following us in Soul Talk. My name is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love, and thank you for being here. Thank you,
Thank
Angela.
you, Monica. This has been absolutely wonderful.